There's not a strong man out there that doesn't want to be able to call himself the world's strongest man. However, only 22 athletes have managed it, and for some it's a journey that's taken much longer than others. With Oleksii Novikov winning the 2020 World's Strongest Man, the second time he appeared in the contest, I thought I'd take a look back and see which strongmen were able to win the prestigious title the fastest, and which athletes had a slow and steady rise to the top. Of the 22 men that have won the World's Strongest Man, 7 of them did it just a year after their first appearance. First up was Don Reinhardt from the USA, who won the competition in 1979, having first appeared there in 1978. Prior to competing at the World's Strongest Man, Don was a 4-time World Powerlifting Champion in the IPF, and at his first Worlds appearance he placed second behind the winner Bruce Wilhelm. Unfortunately, during the 1980 title defence, Don tore his hamstring and bicep, which would ultimately be career-ending injuries. Next up is strongman legend, the American Bill Kazmaier, who we first saw at World's Strongest Man in 1979. Bill took third place in his first appearance at the competition, straight away showing that he was a force to be reckoned with. He returned the following year and put on a dominating performance, winning 6 out of the 10 events and securing his first win. Bill would go on to win a further 2 times before reportedly being banned from the competition for being too dominant. Whatever the reason for being excluded from the competition, one has to wonder how many times Bill could have won the title had he not missed out on 4 years of the World's Strongest Man. Icelandic star Jean-Paul Sigmarsson first appeared at the World's Strongest Man in 1983 when he placed second behind British champion Jeff Capes. Jean-Paul was back with a bang the following year, taking the title for himself after coming top 2 in 7 of the 8 events. This was the beginning of an epic battle between Jean-Paul and Jeff, with Jean-Paul ultimately taking 4 title wins before his tragic and untimely death in 1993. Next up is British strongman Jamie Reeves, who first appeared at the World's Strongest Man in 1988. Jamie took third place at the competition behind Jean-Paul Sigmarsson and Bill Kazmaier, and he surprised fans when he won the competition the following year. The 1989 competition was a strong showing from Jamie, with him equalling the log world record at the time of 170 kilos. Jamie only competed at Worlds one more time in 1992, but stayed involved with the sport for many years afterwards and was part of the IFSA Strongman governing body. The giant Dutch Ted van der Paar first appeared on our screens at the World's Strongest Man in 1991. And at 7 foot tall, Ted is still the tallest athlete to appear in the competition. Ted won the competition the following year in a closely fought battle between him, Magnus Vern Magnusson and Jamie Reeves, with just 1 point separating the top 3. Next up is Ukrainian strongman Vasyl Verastyuk, who we first saw at World's Strongest Man in 2003 when he took third place overall, beating former champions Sven Karlsson and Magnus Samuelsson in the process. The following year, Vasyl was back and won the competition ahead of the favourites at the time, Mariusz Pudzianowski and Zydrunas Savickas. In 2005, IFSA split from the World's Strongest Man, resulting in 2 different federations, and Vasyl won the IFSA World Championships in 2007. The most recent second appearance champion is Oleksii Novikov, who also comes from Ukraine. Oleksii faced a tough group in his first World's Strongest Man in 2019 and was solidly in second place before being knocked out of the competition during the last man standing stone event. Oleksii returned the following year, this time winning his group before going on to win the overall competition, breaking the World's Strongest Man 18-inch deadlift record in the process. Those guys were quick, but now let's take a look at 3 strongmen that won the World's Strongest Man the first time they ever competed in the contest. For obvious reasons, we have to start with the American athlete Bruce Wilhelm, who won the first competition back in 1977. That first show was made up of athletes from several strength sports, including powerlifting, weightlifting and bodybuilding. The events the athletes took part in were far removed from the more standardised events we're used to seeing today, and included tyre tossing, carrying a fridge, wrist rolling, and the tug of war. Bruce won the first competition and successfully defended the title the following year against the brutally strong Don Reinhardt and Lars Hedlund from Sweden. The next man to win the competition the first time he appeared there was Magnus Ver Magnusson, who was originally invited last minute to the 1991 competition as an equipment tester. Magnus found out that he was competing on arrival and stunned everyone when he won the competition. The Icelandic star would eventually go on to win the title 4 times and is now the very well respected head referee at the World's Strongest Man. The last man to win the World's Strongest Man on his first attempt was Finnish strongman Juho Ahola back in 1997. Despite being the smallest man in the final, Juho won both power events, the max deadlift and the log lift for reps. He won the competition again in 1999 and retired on top, turning his attention instead to a career in films. Those are our super fast risers, so now let's take a look at 5 strongmen that took a little longer to reach the top. Sven Karlsson first appeared at the World's Strongest Man in 1996 after moving over from the sport of bodybuilding, and it would be another 5 years of hard work before he reached the top of the podium in 2001. After his big title win, Sven competed at the contest a further 3 times before retiring from the sport. He continued to stay involved in the sport as a presenter for the Norwegian version of the show. British strongman Eddie Hall first appeared in the competition in 2012 before winning the title 5 years later in 2017. Eddie placed a little better each year he appeared at the show, not making it out of the group stages on his first 2 appearances, but then placing 6th, 4th, 3rd and finally 1st. Eddie retired from the World's Strongest Man immediately after his win and has gone on to find success as a media personality. Eddie's rival, the Icelandic Thor Bjornsson, first appeared at the World's Strongest Man in 2011, and it would be another 7 years before he'd win the title. Thor's win was a highly anticipated one, with him placing on the podium an incredible 6 times before taking the title for himself. Thor retired from the sport of strongman after winning his 10th consecutive Iceland's Strongest Man title in 2020, but has hinted that he might return to the sport in the future. American strongman Phil Pfister competed at his first World's Strongest Man contest in 1998. It was a year that turned into survival of the fittest when a large proportion of the athletes were hit with food poisoning or suffered with an injury. Phil survived and managed to take 4th place, but it would be another 8 years before he claimed the title for himself, which he managed to do in 2006. And finally, we have the strongman GOAT Zydrunas Savickas, topping another list, but this time for more surprising reasons. Like Phil, Zydrunas first appeared at the Worlds in 1998, but was unable to qualify out of the group stages. His performances steadily improved over the years, and he took 2nd place 3 times before leaving Worlds in favour of IFSA, where he won 2 of the World Championships against the likes of Vasil Varastyuk and Mikhail Kuklayev. The 2009 World's Strongest Man was anticipated to be the best strongman competition yet, as IFSA had dissolved and Worlds were able to invite all of the top athletes from the sport. That show ended up being Zydrunas' first World's Strongest Man win, an incredible 11 years after he first appeared at the show. What's more impressive is that far from past his best, Zydrunas won the competition a further 3 times against the likes of Brian Shaw and Hafthor Bjornsson. So there we have it, the quickest and slowest races to the title. Whose journey impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments below. While you're here guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.